Hey everyone, hope you're having a great Saturday. So today I'm going to talk about Bitfarms. So we did a Bitfarms video last week when they updated their September production report. So a couple of things have come up as far as stories-wise for their operations updates as far as building out their infrastructure. So we're going to talk about that really quick here, and then we're going to dive into the latest and greatest on my forecast, which has been updated to the quarterly one, which is more accurate than the previous one that I had. So let's get into the first story. Obviously, here we got Bitfarms provides Bitcoin production and mining operations, right? We did this last week. So this is just a quick overview. Increases BTC mining to 1,050 for the quarter. They hold over 2,300 BTC now, valued at over 100 million. What else do we have here? So they mined 305 new Bitcoins during the September quarter, mined a total of 1,050 BTC in the third quarter. And then they mined 2,407 in the first 9 months, and then deposited 2,312 BTC into custody through September 30th. So that's just a quick recap. Obviously, we saw the numbers here. June, they mined 265, July 391, August 354, and September 305. So next story is Bitfarms expands Quebec mining operations with 13 megawatts of hydropower and exceeds 1.6 exahash corporate hash rate. So for the September operations update, they provided that they are at 1.53 exahash installed as of September 29th. And then just a couple days later, October 4th, they provided that they're up to 1.4 or 1.6 exahash corporate hash rate. So they obviously got some more miners in. So they are increasing capacity at Cowansville, Quebec, from 4 megawatts to 17 megawatts. They received and installed 450 of the Bitmain S19J Pro miners and boost hash rate by approximately 100 petahash per second. So this is all great news. Obviously, they're getting miners in, they're getting stuff installed, they're upgrading their infrastructure as well to support even more miners because they're going to need it because they've got a lot of miners coming in the next 15 months or so. Next story is from October 7th. So Bitfarms signs contracts and commenced construction of 210 megawatt facility. This is really exciting. This is good to see. Obviously, they have like 44,000 or 48,000 miners coming in later in 2022. They need space for these. They need to put them someplace. So the new facility in Argentina greatly expands global Bitcoin mining production at a substantially lower cost. Let me see here. So they signed an engineering and procurement construction at EPC contracts and commenced construction of a production facility in Argentina. As previously announced in April 2021, the new facility is expected to add up to 210 megawatts of infrastructure capacity in 2022 at a contracted rate of 2.2 cents per kilowatt per hour provided by a private company. So they go on to say our new high production facility in Argentina, which is expected to accommodate over 55,000 miners upon completion, will greatly expand our capacity and global footprint. They obviously need this because they got a lot of miners coming in. So combined with the expansion in Quebec, Canada, and our planned build out in Paraguay, we are positioned to achieve our corporate target of 8 exahash per second by year-end 2022, said Emiliano Gorodzinski, CEO of Bitfarms. The Argentina facility is planned to produce Bitcoin using power at an attractive rate of 2.2 cents per kilowatt, substantially reducing our already low cost of mining Bitcoin, leveraging our expertise in corporate infrastructure as well as that of our highly respected construction partners is part of our strategy to grow faster and more efficiently by mining Bitcoin with improved profit margins. So here we go. The facility in Argentina is expected to accommodate over 55,000 miners, including the 48,000 latest generation MicroBT miners the company is purchased in early 2021. This adds to approximately 21,500 miners currently online at Bitfarms. So this kind of coincides with my data here. So obviously all of this stuff is good news for them. They need the infrastructure, they need the buildings to house all these new miners. Didn't say anywhere as far as what the price tag is on this new build out in Argentina. So that's interesting to see what that's going to cost. Obviously, labor, I think, is a little bit less expensive than it would be in the US or Canada. So I think might be a pretty attractive way to expand out. Okay, so let's get into the forecast here. So like with the other ones, I've done Hive already, Hut 8, and Riot. I've done these in per quarter now, which is, I believe, more accurate. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys here so you guys can see. So in Q1, the hash rate was around average 157 million. Price tag on Bitcoin was 58,000 at the close of March. And they reported 28.4 million roughly, and they mined 548 BTC, right? So these are the miners that we had basically operating at that time. Looks like they possibly got some of those M31S plus miners in, mining for 0.10 of 3 months to give us where we need to be. Don't know what the hosting was on that, but it must not have been very large because in Q2 they only had 127,000 in revenue on hosting. So for Q2 we were looking at hash rate, an average hash rate of 144 million, and the closing price on June, the end of June, was 35,200 roughly, approximately. They gave us 36.7 million, or 36.7, almost 36.8 million, which is what they reported as well. They mined 745 BTC during that quarter. And then these are the miners that we basically had on here. We had all of the old ones mining along with some of the newer ones to get to that price tag for gross revenue. And then for obviously Q3 now, which they reported that they had 1.53 exahash here, and they mined a total of 1,019 BTC. We had a hash rate of 124 million average. It's obviously increasing from when the China FUD came out, when all those miners in China were shut down. So it's increasing from that point now. The BTC closing price on the last day of September was 48,164 roughly. So we took out all of the old miners here, right, which were basically all of these. These were the ones that were making, those were the worst miners that they had right now. So they were the 13.9 speed, the 28, 13.9, 23, 29, and then the 50,000 ones here. And they started replacing those with the higher hash rate miners, the more profitable ones. So we came up with, let me see here. So we came up with, if we added these up here, along with these, we came up with 1.55, oh, there we go, 1.6 looks like, and they reported 1.57, right? What did they report? 1.53. So these here were probably not completely installed at the end here. These two, I'm guessing, to get us to the 1.57. That's why I have it here as mining only 1 month here and 1 month here as well. So basically a third of those being installed during that period to get us to the 1.53 exahash, which gives us at the current price of, at the end of September, was 48,164, depending on what they actually use. We came up with a possible estimated gross revenue of 50,167,000, which is almost 13 million more than Q2. So Q3 looks like it's going to be a pretty good month for them. Gross EPS is at 28 cents per share based on the current price or shares outstanding right now. So the current stock price for Bitfarms is at 513. And then if we look at Q4, obviously the hash rate has increased, and Bitcoin right now is around 54,970. So with the increased hash rate, they're going to be mining less, obviously. And as long as they get all these miners installed roughly when they're at this quarter, and some of them are not going to be mining for 3 months either. They're going to be mining for a quarter of a month. They might be mining for 1.5 months. So based on these numbers here, we're looking at possibly 54,582,000, which would be a gross EPS of 31 cents. And then we'll obviously have to see where their exahash ends up with their October, November, and December mining operations updates. So we can kind of fine tune this a little bit better. But right now I'm looking at around 54 million if Bitcoin stays where it's at, or it could be higher, obviously, if Bitcoin goes up. So now if we look at the projections here, so total estimated gross revenue for the year looks like it's going to be around 170 million. Estimated EPS gross, right, is 96 cents. They're hodling right now 2,312, which is valued at 127 million roughly right now. And then so this is the current BTC price, right, 54,970. Current quarter earnings estimate That's our latest one is the Q4, which is 54 million. And then we have the last 3 quarters earnings of 115 million. We get a combined total of 169, almost 170 million gross. So from here, I take it and basically cut it 50% down to account for anything as far as electricity, operating expenses, anything else that they gotta pay for, to get a net possible income of 84.9 million, 85. Obviously, this all depends on how much they actually spend and everything else. So we'd get an EPS of 48 cents at the current price of Bitcoin, which is 54,970. Using a price to earnings multiple of 20, we would have a stock price of $9.62. So that would be almost a 100% increase from where the stock price is right now. So in my view, I think Bitfarms is right now undervalued. And then obviously if Bitcoin goes up 2x, we're looking at 109,000 Bitcoin price and a stock price of 1271. Bitcoin goes up 3x to 165,000. We're looking at a stock price of 15.8, and then a 4x, we're looking at 1888. So definitely a lot of upside potential, I think. Obviously, they got to get their spending under control. Also, try not to dilute their shares as much as possible. So as long as they can pull all that stuff off, this is kind of where I'm looking at. And if they obviously improve on those things, we're looking at a 75% operating margin possibly. So then stock price should be around 1443, 1906, 2369, 2833, depending on where it goes. Obviously, they're going to be spending a lot of money on the infrastructure build out. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I think right now Bitfarms is just undervalued. I think a lot of people have dismissed the stock basically because of a lot of the debt that they do have. So they got to get that figured out, get that sorted out. And then, start providing some actual good earnings per share per quarter where they're actually positive. I know they've been, I think, negative for the past couple of quarters. If we look at it here, let's take a look. Let me get there really quick for you guys. Let me see here. Oop, that's not it. Let's take a look at their earnings here really quick. Financials, quarterly. So if we look at their quarterly results, we're looking at negative 2 cents, negative 6 cents, right? They got to get that up to be positive. If they can do that, the stock, I think, should definitely rally behind it. But they got to get that obviously fixed. Otherwise, the stock is going to kind of linger where it's at right now, at least in my opinion. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, I think it's a lot of good news for them. They just got to get the numbers right. So let me know what you think. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,